Hello, hello, and hello. I am
Hi,
so happy to be
gorgeous
here today.
beings.
Look, look, I have the one and only Miss Heather is here with us. Well, Heather's always here with us. This is her Heather show too. I'm so used to just introducing people.
Right. It's
crazy.
our show, Jeff. You have to share this one with me.
Yeah, you can have it. Here we go. No, it's Heather's show. I'm just here to look pretty.
I think that's the other way around. I think it's Jeff's show. I'm just here to be pretty. That's what I think.
No. We're not playing that game. Although you are much prettier, and it makes it's not my show. I'm just used to running it. That's
Right.
all.
I know he does. I really do just show up and go, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today? Today it's just you and I, and we get to talk about creativity and igniting our imaginations. So, what I'm really excited about talking about this because you do such a great job with your Wednesday creating chats on TikTok, and
Right.
I absolutely love that space because it forces me to kind of like stop all the things,
Right.
and you kind of
Yeah,
yell
we're
at
going
me
to
if I.
talk about that because so we should introduce ourselves. So Jeff, you need to go
Oh,
or you need to go first. I don't
me-
know how that works. I'm always you go
yeah,
and
me.
introduce yourself. What do you
Oh,
do? Who are you? Tell us about you.
I am the fabulous Freedom Jedi. It's been one of those days, guys. So I'll just tell you, I'm here. Uh, I am fabulous. I am so, and what I do is I help gay men and those who love us, or as I like to call them, the fabulously identifying people, you know, to really break free from the drama and actually obtain what they freaking want.
Oh, I
And
love it.
sometimes it's about figuring out what it is that they actually want so they can do it.
Right. Or
Uh,
what they don't want.
or we don't talk about what we don't want. We
That
don't
is
call it
true.
order
We
pizza.
we talked about that last
Heather's
week.
famous line. I love it.
Right. We don't order a pizza and tell
Did
them
we?
what we
Yes, we
want
did.
on it. Don't manifest
Heather
and
said
tell
that
the universe what you don't want.
the first time Heather said that, I absolutely just stopped dead and went,
Yeah.
"That's it." So, Heather, introduce your lovely self.
Hello, gorgeous beings. I'm Heather. I'm a shaman, energy medicine woman. I help gorgeous beings, all of them, to release the energetic trauma that is attached to you that causes physical things to happen, physical health issues, mental health issues. So we release the energy attached to that, and I use the chakras to do so.
I love it.
Oh,
And
and I
she's
do
been
some oracle. I
and and
I read some oracle cards sometimes,
sometimes once in a while. Here we go.
once in a while.
I'm more the one that's a once in a while. Once in a while, I'll throw an oracle. My guides have been on me. I've pulled a card almost every day the last 2 weeks
I love it. I
for
love
some
it.
reason, for something. And I'm my guides have been, as Heather knows, my guides have been telling me that I need to connect more, I need to listen more, and I need to, and all the things. She says this all the time. And it's hilarious because they keep coming through, and every time she pulls a card or anyone pulls a card for me, it's something like connect more,
Yeah.
listen to your
Sometimes I know
intuition,
what I'm
listen
talking
to your
about
guide.
every once in a while.
Yeah. So
You know,
every once in a while, right?
sometimes.
So All right,
I
creativity.
used to say this thing all the time, "I know a few things about a few things," and, like, it's one of my favorite things to say, and people are like, "Haha," and then they go, "Oh, no, you really do know some things about a few things," you know? I'm the, jack of all trades, master of none type of person, so I love to learn new things, so I'm always learning about something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got it. You know, I want to kind of go back because one of the questions. So today we are talking about creativity, igniting your imagination. Okay,
yeah,
and sometimes I find it really challenging. Right, we get caught up in our our stuff. I'll
yeah,
keep it PG, and we get caught up. And one of the things I do love is that your Wednesday nights. It's one of the structures that I put in place in my life is to be on her live um, to make sure
right,
that
to be
I
creative.
have space
Well,
to actually
so
create.
really, there's a story behind that because really what it was like so growing up, my mom was, like, the craftiest of all crafty. My sister has an amazing imagination. She writes books, she's got all these ideas for books. Um, my mom was, like, the craftier, she could knit, crochet, she could embroider, sew, I mean, everything across the board. And I just always felt like I was not a creative person because I put myself in this like little box of, like, well, I'm not, I always said I was crafty. Like,
Mhm.
I can create something. But then I realized that I was really creating stuff, and writing copy and, like, Jeff is he says that he's the master of, like, writing copy, and he can write copy like a madman. All those things are super creative, but what happens is when we're young, we are told that we shouldn't listen to our imagination, right? We stifle that part of us. So
Mhm.
that's where we wanna start, right? Igniting your imagination. We wanna start with the releasing the idea that it is childish to use your imagination.
Yeah, I mean, it's so huge. If if us as adults, you know, there's like I just got 6 messages at once. Can you stop? Oh,
Welcome to my world.
right. Uh,
Welcome to my world.
so as adults, one of the things that Google did is they made their offices fun. Like, they
Yeah,
put in playrooms, they put in these things because what they found is that if you allow that fun and that creativity to happen, then it opens up being able to be more productive,
yes,
you know, and
yes,
and one of and by stifling that, obviously we're limiting our creativity, our ability to create and not problem solve. It's such a
right.
huge thing.
But I you know what, but I think that there is, that being creative is a huge part of problem solving.
It can be, but if you're only doing it in order to.
Okay, so but then you have to define that because really problem solving, if you're doing it correctly, instead of like, is to take a step back and look at everything. And that is a creative process, right? To like be able instead of just troubleshoot, you're talking about troubleshooting. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actual problem solving. When you actually take a step back and actually problem solve, you using your imagination because you are plugging in
Oh, yeah.
all the different things around it and looking at the bigger picture in order to solve the problem, right? You're talking about troubleshooting. That's two different things, in my opinion.
Yeah,
In my
troubleshooting.
humble opinion.
I gotta there's nothing humble about your opinion, darling, and there shouldn't be. We I think that the what I see is the issue there is that people get caught up in the problem solving or the troubleshooting, and they don't. take time to create. So they see the problem, they see the problem, they see the problem, they see the problem, and so they're always tapping away at problems, and they're not looking at what it is that they actually want.
Okay, I see what you're
Does that make
saying.
sense? Um, and I get there is a difference between problem solving and troubleshooting. Trust me,
Yeah,
I've been in troubleshooting mode with the client for 2 weeks now, like
right.
67 Slack messages and
Well,
like
like, I have to tell you sometimes, like, I'm not looking for a solution, I just need you to hear me right now. Like, I say
yeah.
that to you because you are such a troubleshooter that,
Hmm.
like, I have to go, "I don't need devil's advocate, I don't need to look at this a different way. I need you to just be Jeff. I need you to shut that part of your mind off."
My first yeah, my first instinct is what's the other side of this? What's the other side?
Right.
Okay, let me play the other side.
Well,
And
and
that's
the
my
funny
first
thing
instinct.
is I'm the same way, so, like, when I'm coming to you, I've already thought of the other things, and I
Of course
still
you
wanna
did.
vent about it, and I still wanna have it
Yeah,
with you.
please vent.
I don't want you to fix it, I just want you to, listen to
Yeah.
me whine about it or something. So yeah, so as an adult, I had to and during this process, I really had to stop and give myself space to create,
Hmm.
right? And I had to give myself I had to acknowledge to myself because other people's acknowledgement at the end of the day doesn't really matter. Other people's opinions of you are none of your business. That's my other favorite saying. You'll probably hear it 1,000 times if you listen to our podcast, so get used to it. Um, is give myself grace and and allow myself to see all the things that I have created. So, like I created a whole chakra program. What I do, no one does
Hmm.
because I created it. Um, creating and learning different ways to help my students when I was an instructor, that's being creative. When we think of creative, we think, oh, she wrote a novel, or or he painted this beautiful picture, which, by the way, when I allowed myself to open up and be creative, I've actually created some very beautiful art as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time I did art classes. I've been in art showings. I've done. Yeah, you wouldn't know that anymore. Honestly,
No,
I
me.
wouldn't know that.
I would tell you that I could not, that I will mess up. I will fuck up a stick figure. Like,
Hmm.
I am not drawing a hand holding another hand. You all know this picture, right? Like, I
Hmm.
you're never gonna see that for me, but that does not make me any less of a creative individual.
Yeah, I do. So I do more abstract stuff. This is actually one of my paintings. Um,
Ooh, that's
it's been
beautiful.
behind me this whole time. Yeah. Um, and I keep thinking I should probably switch that one out. There's like 13 of them in this RV that are hidden because I always said, well, once I get into the campgrounds and stuff, I'll kind of sell them, and if I'm in places, I see myself with a little crate with a thing on it, but
Right.
they're all framed like this. They all are pretty. I just I post them once online for sale, but there's something that you had to look at. Like the pictures don't do them justice, but they're all kind of different and abstract, and I'm not doing the detailed handwork either. Uh,
Right.
what what I've always been really good at is color. When it comes to that, I also sing. I also written songs. I've done, I was in theater, and you know,
So, I did those things in high school. Like, I was in middle school, I was in choir, I was in honor choir, show choir, whatever it was. In
mm,
high school, I I did a lot of the tech not tech work even, I shouldn't say that. I'm the one from theater that showed up and, like, sold the tickets and did all the stuff that, like, no one just really wanted to do.
mhm,
But even my senior year, I got back into singing and took choir again, and the teacher was like, "Where have you been?" Because at the time, I cannot do it anymore. I'm more of like a alto-ish. Sometimes I can do second soprano, first alto when I'm singing. But I was like I could go from first soprano to alto, and so she would kind of stick me in between and just have me drop depending on who needed more oomph
Mhm.
in that section of the song. She'd be like, "Okay, now Heather, sing alto for me this next bar," whatever,
This phrase, I got it.
Yeah, but so about 10 years ago, this is where the painting came in. So, like, I paint every once in a while. I use that term loosely, but I went to one of those wine and designs with a friend of mine who wanted, like, she was like, "I saw this and I thought, I had a Groupon and I wanted to invite you to go do it." And it was Buddha,
Oh wow, yeah.
which I wish I had it with me. It's in my storage unit. Of course, I still have it. It's usually hanging somewhere around me. But I did this and I was like, "Oh, oh," the whole time, like, probably the loudest one in there going, "I don't know, da, da, da." And the girl said to me, "You know what? Usually the ones who are the most worried about it are the ones that turn out the best. Like, they just turn out great," which is totally true.
Mhm.
It turned out fantastic. It's beautiful. You would never know that I was the one that did it. It turned out fabulous. Um, but I find when I allow myself to do that is when I get really great ideas for my business. So when you can allow yourself to do something that, how do I put this? Allows your mind to relax and not worry about it all the time, that is where the true creativity starts to come in, and allowing you to
Mhm.
open up your imagination, because that is how we create the life we want.
It's true. And it's funny because, you know, Wednesdays I tend to write, whereas you tend to either color or create something.
Right.
Um, and I've really found that allowing me that space to just like breathe, write, and write. And I know I have a message, and a lot of times when I sit down before that,
And for you, it's not writing for someone else, right? So
right?
Jeff has rules when he comes to so for anyone who wants to participate this, on Wednesday nights at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time on TikTok, Living Oracle Wellness, come hang out. It's a vibe. I put some music on. I color. We chat about all kinds of things. This week it's going to be about standards
Oh,
in relationships. Um,
I don't know where that comes from.
right, right. There's, of course, a story. You'll have to come hang out with us to find out. Um, so I pick a topic and we talk about it. And I tried doing crafts, but I felt like I wasn't like I have to concentrate on the craft. So I color and I call them color and chats. But I had to tell Jeff that he was not allowed to come and to work during that time, that this was his time to create for himself because he has so much other things going on that he does for other people that he needed time to just do him and
Mhm.
what he wanted to create, and open up his imagination. So it's a beautiful space to do that, and it's a safe space for anyone to come and talk about whatever they want, right?
Yeah. Typically, I write the are typically
Which
what I
that's
write
good,
there.
but that's for your purpose, right? That is your
Right.
passion. That is, that's giving you space to do what, for you. Again, that's what we were
Yeah,
talking about,
it's
right?
for me. It's not for my business. It's not for anything. This is a message that as this will replace something that writing sermons at this point. You
Right.
know, that's really the level it is.
Yeah.
And half the time they are used as sermons for the temple. I love that still.
So
It's
this
amazing.
is this like this, and I have coloring books, but like this, some of this stuff is like when I'm doing this right here, this is where like I get ideas and things to talk about. Like, um, I love doing these. Again, it's just something,
I did a really cool I did a really cool mandala on Canva the other day. That's going to be in my social media. It's one of the social media posts that because if I get stressed, I go to Canva. It's the funniest thing in the world for me. And I have enough Canva things. The reason why you guys see all the Canva stuff from me is because that's like my go-to default creative spot.
But
And
it's a
here we
great
go.
place to create and use your imagination and do something specifically for you, right? Or in a way where you get to make it whatever you want, right? That's another great place that allowed me to open up my imagination and my creativity, um, was to learn to use Canva. And you actually helped me with that even too, like, the possibilities are endless. Like,
They really are.
remember that you can do and create whatever you want.
What I found is that if I stop looking for things that look like someone else.
Yeah.
So it was funny. I had this yarn thing come up on my like an ad for yarn show up because I send my niece does all this. She crochets, and so I always send her these cool things if I see it in crocheting. So of course it started showing up on my feed. Enough. I send it enough that now my feed every so often, not always, but every so often is this hand dyed yarn, absolutely gorgeous, and the color was amazing on this yarn. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love these colors. And so I, I of course sent to my niece, and then and she goes, oh, I know these guys, but I can't use them because blah 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 blah. I'm like, no, you can. They do. They wrap it. Like they do all the stuff. It's a little on the pricier side, right? It's hand dyed, but it's beautiful. Like it really was some beautiful stuff. And they have this image, and so I said, you know what? I wonder what would happen if I took this image into Canva and tried to pull the colors from it as a color reference. And so my last 4 or 6 weeks of posts that you've seen on my social media have all been where I've taken something like that, went in and pulled out the colors, and then created something using those colors of some sort.
Oh, I love it.
And so it's been a lot of fun. This last week, you guys started seeing the stuff with these almost sacred geometry things. Like they have these like really cool, and I'm like, I see some things for these, and I'm like, do I have time to actually sit down and do like almost thinking maybe I could do an oracle deck with them
Ooh, that would be beautiful.
that have like strange because they're all these like kind of strange shapes, and each one have spoken to me. And it's like, what does this one say to me? What is it like? And I know that they're not necessarily sacred geometry, but they all kind of have that feel, like almost like a
Yeah,
Roman geometry type
that's
feel.
the using your imagination. So here's something, you guys, that we need to, you get to use your imagination however you want. So
Mhm.
I think that's a really important message to like sit down and imagine the life that you truly want. So, we say meditation, meditation, meditation. How do you connect with yourself? Meditation. Well, it's true. Sorry, not sorry. You need to meditate. Whatever that looks like to you. Meditation can happen. Please don't do it while you're driving. Please do not do it while you're driving, because this is really connecting with yourself. You could meditate in the shower. You can, do guided meditation. I love guided meditation, because for me, I'm neurospicy, and so a lot of times for me, the guided meditation keeps me on track, right? Um, but then allow yourself to open up and just start thinking about what you want your life to look like. I think that is a great place to just start with what do you want your life to look like? What is it that, and maybe go back to like when you were a kid and what did you think your life was going to look like? And then what parts of that don't serve you any longer, right?
Mhm.
And what parts do. So when I was a kid, I went through a phase where I said I wanted to be a waitress. My dad and his friends laughed at me, but I am from Vegas and serving is a huge thing here, like, I mean, so I
And they
know
make great
people who
money.
make really good money serving in Las
Yeah.
Vegas. Like, that's just, um, which is what I was thinking about. I was thinking about my dad's friends who were valets that made buku bucks, or roulette dealers that made really good, so I mean, that's where I was going when I said I wanted to be a waitress. But But really the thing that I could think of, like, as I got a little bit older was I wanted to be a chiropractor. And it was the natural part of things, right? It was that we did things naturally. And so though I don't do that, but there's a lot of that in what I do. Does that make sense? Like, so sometimes going back and
Mhm.
saying, what was it that I wanted to do as a kid? And how close am I to that? I was in the medical field for years. I was a massage therapist before I became a medical assistant.
Yeah, it makes total
You
sense.
know,
And we talk about my 16-year-old child self that yells at me and flips me off and is always pissed off and cries at award shows because I should be there. So I, but what I do get to do is I do get to talk in front of people. I do still get to really impact people because really
yeah,
it was about the impact, not the. It was about really seeing the people that it impacted me were singers and writers and in theater, and being able to be that person for someone else was what I wanted,
right.
not necessarily, and I want to be on stage. I'll be the first to tell you, welcome to my world. I like to be on stage. Hi. Um,
No, no.
no, how often am I live? I produce
You
comedy
know what?
shows.
I never thought I don't now I don't I could see myself now much more like I could get up and talk to as many people as you wanna put in front of me, and I would probably you're gonna get a show, like, in some
Mhm.
way. But teaching really helped me with that. Being an instructor like, really, really helped me with that because like, you have to get up in front of a classroom of other adults, right? Because I taught adults, so this was not like I
Yeah.
wasn't entertaining 5th graders, I was entertaining anywhere from 18 to I think my oldest student was 68,
Wow.
twice my age. Like, at the time, when I first started teaching, I had a student who was almost twice my age, which was intimidating. I'm like, "How do I
Yeah.
teach?" And she came up to me one day and goes, "You know what? There is not a day that goes by that I you don't teach me something. Like, you teach me something new every single day." And that just made my heart, like,
Mhm.
so full to know that I impacted someone's life. And so like for my imagination, I think big. If you can imagine it, it can happen. Remember everything that we do, my microphone, this computer, us being able to, this program that we're using, everything someone along the way imagined, had an image in their head and imagined that they could make it happen, and they did. Think about
Yeah.
that. Look
Yeah.
around you right now. If you're listening to this, look around you. Are you driving in your car listening to us right now? Someone imagined that body style of car that you're in, that radio the new sound system that's in there, the tires and the tread and the this and the that, like everything that you come across was in someone's imagination at some point. That is
Mhm.
powerful. That's powerful stuff,
Yeah. It is. And I think that we
which means you
forget.
can do it too.
Yeah, we forget that. And w- uh, one of the things that really helped me recently, like I said, I've been in Heather's Wednesday nights. That's like my time and everything. But I've published 3 different books. I've done other things before. And what really helped me was I had time set aside. I One of the things I talk about all the time is having time chunks and making sure that you're following your schedule. And one of the
I'm
things
so
that
horrible about that.
we've talked about this recently is that I've been off my game, my system for a while. So February is all about 100% systems. And even saying that, I'm like, wow, yeah, because I do. There's not one system I don't use, but using all of them consistently for a month. And I know how powerful it is. I've done it. I did it for years, you know. but I kind of fell off of it. And once you fall off, it's kind of like going to the gym, right? You can go to the gym, go to the gym, go to the gym, and then you sleep in one day. Oh crap, I'm not going to the gym. Oh, and then and then the
Right, you
next
kinda
day,
beat yourself up for a little while, and then pretty soon, it doesn't matter that you're not going to the gym. I mean, it matters because you still
yeah,
probably are telling yourself, "I need to go to the gym," but actually going back to the gym is the hardest part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly,
I
exactly. So that's kind of
struggle
where I
with
am with most of it.
I have huge bouts of super creativity, and I create, 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 and then I it will go away for a while, and then
Mhm,
so even I have a hard time sometimes just letting taking from my imagination and actually putting it into creation, I think
yeah,
is the hard because then I think of all the things. Part
all
of
of them.
being right, and part of my gift, we'll call it, at the moment, is that I can see the end result. So
Mhm,
and so sometimes it's really hard for me to get to the end result because I already can see, "Oh, once it's done, it's gonna pick up at some point and be huge." You know what I
mhm,
mean? And I'm gonna have all the things, um and then it's like, "Okay, well, how am I gonna get there? Okay, in this moment, what do I need to do to get there?"
mhm.
Right?
It's a challenge.
That's the hard one for me. It's hard for me. It in
Yeah.
the mo I've been trying to create this thing. I don't know that I wanna say it out loud.
You mean the one that's supposed to be that we're supposed to have ready for the 14th? Yeah, that one.
That one, that thing. So we kind
That
of
thing.
switched up a little bit, and it's turned into it's not the original thing we were gonna do, but it's gonna feed into everything else. Which, of course, there goes the creative, right, imagination of so I was working on a journal that's gonna go along with my healing program it's a healing journal, it's all about the chakras, it's in the works. I'm gonna put it out there. It is in the works. I and I'm one of those people that I have to, like, have it all put together in my brain and sit down and just do it. And so, I think that's part of it, is, like, I can't just sit down and do it. I wanna sit down and, like, "Boom, I'm creating this today." This is
Mhm,
because I've already done it 100 times in my head to get it worked out to where when I sit down, I could just it it is, you know? Um so in that process, I'm like, "Okay, but everyone always asks me all the time, what is my daily routine? What do I do every day?" And so part of that is which I would like more to do, is to journal daily. And, so that's what I'm working on right now. That's the one that's going to come first because that's going to be an integral part to the next one that I'm going to do, which is the chakra journal.
mhm.
And then that feeds into do you see how this imagination and the creation of things comes about, right? So something that eh, and then it's going to add to what I already created
Mhm.
because it's going to go hand in hand with the program. You could do it all separately, you could do it all together. Of course, the biggest benefit is going to be all together, but I came up with that, you guys, by myself. No one does what I do because I
Mhm.
created everything that I do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You
Yeah,
know,
and to have the
it
confidence to say that, which it took me a really long time to not compare myself. Quit comparing yourself to other people, by the way. Quit comparing your ideas or what you're doing or where you're at to other people. Other people's opinions of you are none of your business, and they're not you, and you're gonna do it differently. Even if you took the same exact program and you applied it the same exact way, one person is going to get different you're gonna get different people, different clients, different everything
I
because
yeah, I worked with the old before I was me. I worked with the coaching program. I worked with another for another coaching program. They're amazing people. They are amazing coaches. They have a really great program. Um, and I was one of the coaches. And people would come to me and ask me things. I'm coaching their program, and they'd ask me things, and I would say it differently than they would. You know, because I'm a different person. I have a different lens, and some of the things still, I still struggle with some of the things that they were doing that weren't necessarily. I'm not saying calling them wrong or anything, but but they don't work for me, right? And not everything is going to work for you. And there's 100 ways to skin a cat.
Right.
So when you're looking at all the things, that's one of the things that I keep saying things all of a sudden. One of the challenges that we have is that we see what someone else is doing, and we even if we're trying to copy that, it's not going to be the same, and it might not work for you, and your hand might not do that. Not that you can't do it, just it might not be as effective for you as something else that just comes naturally for you.
Right.
I could never sit there and pull cards all day. I couldn't.
Right.
I can't. When I go live and do card pulls, which I have in the past, you know, not that I don't, not that I don't pull cards, not that I'm not talented, not that I'm not connected, not that all the things, not that I don't have a message, but people don't show up. They don't get the same kind of thing, and it's not the same energy as that if I go in and we sit down and hang out and you're pulling cards.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a totally different vibe. It's a totally different thing. So again, not that I'm comparing myself to you at all.
No, but
There,
that's the thing is, like, I had to stop well, that's the other thing, I had to stop comparing myself to other readers
yeah.
on TikTok, right? Because you start scrolling through and you see these other people and you're like, "Oh," and sometimes I go, "Man, I wish kinda," and then I'm like, "No, I don't wish that I was more this or more that or, showed this side of myself," or like, there's a time and a place for all of those things. What
Mhm,
I do is create a safe space for people to come and learn about healing, and I don't do anything like anyone else. When I give a reading, you can go and have had 100 readings before. If you come and get a reading from me, you are going to get something completely, completely different.
mhm.
Completely different. And I've had clients say that, "Oh, I've had tons of readings before." And then they come to me and they're like, "Oh, that was like no other reading I've ever had." I'm like, "Right." Because I had to find a way to do it myself. And Jeff knows me because I've done his coaching program before, and we fought like an old married couple the whole entire time. I'm like, "If you can get past coaching me and not tell me to fuck off, then you can coach anyone because I want all of the information and then I wanna see how it's gonna work for me." And Jeff's like, "That's not how we do things." And I go, "Well, that's how I do things. So I'm gonna process all this information and then I'm gonna see where it fits for me and how it works for me?"
Mhm.
It drove him crazy. It drove me crazy because 'cause I'm like, "Just give me all the information. Please
And
just give me
it's
all of it at one time. I want it all." And it doesn't
you know
work
what's
that
funny? So one of the things that happened today that Heather knows, I released my brand new program. It's the Creators Club, and they're actually one of the things that's happening is that they're getting all the information all at once because it's all already recorded, and
right,
so they'll get it all. Now, I don't suggest like going and like binge watching because
right,
that you have to have time to process and do. But we're going to talk in our first call. We're going to kind of talk about what it is that you might need to look at. What is it that your biggest challenges are,
right.
you know, to so that
Well, and
you
how many
can,
times have I told you through this process of this new program to do what feels right for you and not what you think you need to do?
yeah, it's been that's a big challenge.
Right, because you wanna do it the like you were taught.
And all the things and all the things like in one of the issues that I have is that there's been times when I needed the most coaching, I didn't have money for coaching.
Right,
And there's stuff out there and there's people out there that trust me, I'm around a lot enough coaches, I'm around enough people that are amazing, and I do get amazing people around me. Don't even the mastermind I'm in now, they were super supportive for 2 years while I got my act together and got things
right,
together enough to be in the mastermind. And I pay a month what I'm expecting for the new one a year
yeah, which is
because
incredible.
yeah, I'm so excited about it. But yeah, just getting that time to be creative and getting that built in. my
Yeah.
time was with Heather. I built it in. I just said I'm gonna be at Heather's all the time, and not to mention I get to hang out with Heather, and sometimes we go live, and I talk shit, because that's what I do. Uh,
It's
we
fun.
have, and it's a lot of fun,
Last week we talked
but
about, yeah, I had a couple of people online, and then it kind of went sideways there for a minute. And I was like, well, I learned a big fat lesson. Don't let people just randomly that you don't know jump on your lives
mhm,
and tell stories, because you never know what you're going to get when that happens. If you,
yeah,
you know, just for the record.
it's curated. We definitely curate. We
Yeah.
definitely curate who shows up, but
Yeah.
sometimes that's fun too.
No, I'm
Other,
not saying never do it. Yeah, I'm not saying never do
right.
it. But yeah, so we have to you have to have a plan for creativity, a time set aside. And what time of day is that good for you? So you have to play around with that, right? The
Hmm.
is it are you creative? Some people are creative in the morning, some people are creative in the afternoons, some people are late at night, like they're night owls. So what is the most creative time for you? And then, you know, do that do your stuff around that, and allow yourself to imagine it actually happening and doing it,
Hmm.
right? So what's our question? How can we harness creativity to unlock boundaries, imagination, and redefine our possibilities?
I
We've
think
kind
we've
of
said
talked
that.
about that, right?
Okay,
Like,
I got it. Yeah, we have. So for each one of these Tuesday Creator Talks, there's actually a list of questions that we try to answer. So,
yeah.
and if you look at the description, wherever that description is, you'll see that. So we want to make sure that we did what we wanted. And if you guys have questions, if you have questions, please let us know,
Yeah.
because that's part of this too, is that you get to actually communicate with the coaches and creators and entrepreneurs and everyone that's on here.
So the next one is, what are proven strategies and techniques will propel you past creative barriers, turning blocks into breakthroughs?
I actually have another thing that we didn't talk about. One of the
Okay.
things that's really helped me is AI. And so what it does for me sometimes is that I don't always use it. Okay. And I'm trying to use it less right now, because everything in me is everything, all the guides, all the things say listen to your intuition. So I need to sit down and actually look at a blank piece of paper, which drives me crazy. Um, and sometimes going in and putting a prompt into AI will start to give you something to actually work with, right? Not necessarily that you need to copy and paste it like we do, but actually gives you something so that you're not starting from scratch. It's a lot easier to edit than it is to create sometimes.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
I think
something to think about.
we get stuck on a specific thought process, right? Where we can't see outside of
Mhm.
that one point. Like, okay, there's more to this. What is, and then, yeah, so then AI helps you to just
Unlock that.
look
And
outside.
maybe
Yeah,
how to
look outside of the box. Yeah.
and it picks up things that you might not see. So it's really great. It's kind of like Carol always says, you can't see the label on outside your jar. And sometimes you can't see that. um Sometimes it's just a word. Like I've literally been hung up on a word, and I'm like, I don't even know how to say this. Like I want to say this,
Yeah,
but how
so
do I
look
say
outside the
this?
box, try different things, right? AI, try
Yeah.
I actually went and bought, speaking of creativity and imagination, things like that, I went and bought this cute little 99 cent. By the way, I have a bunch of notebooks, but I needed something small that I could take with me, or that I could just have write around. To write, I will be in a session, or I'll be talking to a friend, and stuff comes to me so much that something will come out in a session, or I'll be talking to a friend, like I said, and then it's like, "Oh, that's profound." Like, I
Mhm.
need to that needs to be, so I have random pieces of paper everywhere, or sticky notes where I've, like, written all this stuff, and then I, of course, never go back to it because, it's written everywhere. So I actually fun and crazy wild thoughts because which is funny because they are sometimes, right? And then that way I could just like open it up and jot it down on a piece of paper. It's all in one space, and then I could go back and look at that because you will get some of your best ideas when you're not trying to get your best ideas, right? You
The shower effect.
right, go take a walk. Go disconnect from things. Exercise. I know people who they get their greatest ideas when they're on Steph. She was Steph Funny, who was on our podcast last week. She makes videos on the stair stepper at the gym, right? Because she gets some great creative thought processes while she's on. And so she just like props her phone up right there on the stair stepper and is huffing and puffing and making a video,
Mhm.
whatever that looks like for you. The shower, whatever it is.
Yeah,
For me, it's driving. I love to drive.
see.
If I could just
I'm
drive and do talk to like
I when I was driving a lot when I was traveling, I would have mine. I would do lives, sitting there and just do lives, and so that way I can have things recorded.
right,
you know,
right.
so it
Just
would be
like hit
recorded.
play and just talk to yourself the whole time in the car and
Basically,
yeah.
um, then I use Trello. I use a Trello board. I have a Trello board that I kind of because there's 100 different ways to contain your notes. I found that Trello boards work for me. I have one that like really does. Sometimes if I'm somewhere and I can't, it's like random and like right there. Sometimes I'll text it to a friend, like I did earlier today with Heather. Um,
We message each other and, like, I will send him a voice message and go, "Hold this for me," and then I,
right.
like, ramble on something and then I just send it because I can go back I could go back to it that way.
It,
Yeah,
it's super easy. Whatever it takes for you to let yourself be creative and let yourself capture that moment.
yeah.
Um, I know that a lot of people talk about dream journals. If I remember my dream, it's really messed up. By the way, and as soon as I said that, I had something that was right there about the purple the purple velvet and satins um, that we talked about before. But like, if I remember, it's really messed up, and then that was right there. Um, yeah, it was messed up. It was a whole messed up scene. I got it. Um,
Right.
so you know, really to elevate your experience, you really want to take the time to actually do it. I think that's the biggest thing is
Yeah.
carving out that time.
And we're talking about business, a lot of this conversation is boiled down to like creativity in our businesses and what we're building because for us right now that is, the forefront of, building these empires. And I say empires because that's what we are creating. And I can imagine that. I know what that looks like. I know what my center looks like. I know what my healing center looks like. I know what the grounds look like. I know, I say I want to travel to find the location because I already know what it looks like. It's just finding it. And in order for me to feel the feels and like, I need to travel to do that. Um, if it's the life that you want to create, make a list of what is it that you really want, right? What in your life is not serving you anymore? And then what is it that you want? And let your imagination run wild because if you can imagine it, you can make it happen.
Mhm. I actually have a
You know?
really cool um, in the Freedom Entrepreneurs group. We have in the last year I did a boot camp, and one of the things that I talked about is our success. And in the success one, the exercise for that is really great for that. What is it that it? Where do you wake up every morning? So it's Monday morning. Where are you waking up? Let's look at the room. Let's kind of go there.
And not
What are
where
you?
you wake up on Monday mornings.
Yeah, where are you waking up on Monday morning?
Where are you waking up on? I just wanna get that clear. Where are you
Yes.
waking up on Monday morning? Like, what does your day look like? What is the ideal day for you?
Mhm.
I yeah, like, I'm gonna wake up It's going to be in someplace beautiful. It, the mountains, just different places every couple of weeks. I'm going to be able to just create and channel the energy and connect with earth and do my card pulls and it, it, see clients all day. I want to, and then have those retreats where I am, you know because not only do I know what the end result is going to be and what that center looks like, but I also know the steps in between of, okay, first I would like to do this. This is going to lead to this. This is going to lead to this, right? And the more that you do that, you guys, the more that you get those, now I'm creating a daily journal that's going to do 5, check-ins, and it's going to be morning and evening, and you could do one or the other or both. There's going to be some free writing places in it, and then that leads into this, to leads into this, to leads into the, do you see where I'm going with
Mhm.
this? Right. And then that all builds on the end result of what I want. And in that, my life builds with it. Right.
Yeah.
Because all of this is around how I want to live my life.
Mhm.
Right.
And we get to create it. And what we forget all the time is that we get to create the life that you are a
Yeah.
creator. You create this life. You
Right.
might
But
have been
so
handed.
many of us, yeah. And for so long, we've allowed other people to create our lives.
Mhm.
What do other people expect of us? Or what you think they expect of you, I should say.
Right.
Let me rephrase
Exactly.
that, right? Because it's, what we think other people expect, or yeah, that sort, and that goes in any part of
Yeah.
your life, What kind of mother do you think people
Mhm.
expect you to be? Your father, you expect people, job wise, I struggled with that for a long time. We talked about that in the podcast about success, right? Was where, like, I was literally an instructor at a college. The amount of medical assistants that can say that they've been an instructor is minimal in and of itself. And then to be able to say that I was as good as what I was, because I was, um, is an even smaller percentage of those individuals, and the impact that I had on people's lives were even more so um, than others, you know. But then people always said, and I was successful. I was very successful at it, but I was looking at what other people would say, like, "Aren't you going to be the department chair? Aren't you going to run an office? You'd be really good at this. You'd be really good at that." And like, that's not what I wanted. I enjoyed working with patients every day. I don't wanna run the office. I wanna be dealing with Mr. Smith and his gangrene toe or whatever, like, yes, I like the grosser the better.
Oh.
What um, well, if it's gangrene, I don't want any part of it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But, like, it was what
That's what I was thinking.
but then I carried this, like, this feeling of not being successful because of that. Even now, sometimes I have to go, no, I'm really like, this is just building, and I'm creating something that is going to change so many people's lives, and it already does. So
Mhm.
that's where I have to stop myself and not always think about how many it's going to touch eventually, but who am I impacting right now? And I impact a great many people's lives
Yeah.
right now. It's beautiful.
Great money,
Let's
including
see.
mine. Hey, I
Yeah. Oh, yours? You're like, yeah, she impacts my life.
mine, mine. Hello, mine. And I'm the only one that's important right now. No, I'm kidding. Um,
I have some people who fight over, I get her time more than you get her time, that sort of, yeah, it's an ongoing.
it's an ongoing thing. It's
Yeah.
okay. Lisa can have you during the day. Um, you know.
So ready to
Oh.
infuse daily life with creativity. This is we've talked about that. That is giving yourself a time to
Mhm.
do so, and giving yourself permission to do so. I think that's one of the large things too, is giving yourself um permission to dream and do what you want,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Um,
definitely. And yeah, and really, and noticing that some of the things that you do on a daily basis, like let's face it, there's not a day that goes by that I probably haven't created some kind of image or written some kind of copy. I mean, there just isn't.
I create a
Uh,
video every day. I create
great.
my if you follow me on IG and FB, I do repeat after me's every day, which those will start I need to put those up on the the
On the
old
tie.
clock app.
That
Um,
clockmates.
and just add some music to it and throw it up there, those are always fun.
Good to do.
But my repeat after me is like I go in and create those in Canva and I post them
Mhm.
every day. That's something creative that I've done. Um, Sitting here doing my daily routine where I sit in my space, I ground, I light my candle, I sage, all those things, I connect with my higher self, my higher consciousness, my guides, my guardians, everyone, everyone. Um,
Her team.
my team, yeah, my soul, my spirit team for sure, and I have a strong one. I will get huge even in that space, there's all kinds of ideas that come in that like, "Oh, okay," and then I write it down and, "Oh, you need to pursue this way. Oh, okay," like, they're guiding me to do in the direction that I need to go as well, you know?
Eh,
So
Listening to your guidance. Normally, the guidance is the quiet voice, which kind of stinks most of the time, unless you're, me and stop listening to them
well,
and they
unless you don't
really
pay
quit.
attention often enough, and then they get
Then
louder until they
they
scream
get,
at you, and
and then you're like, okay, I heard you. I'm kind of like I am definitely a spiritual teenager when it comes to my guides. Like,
that's
all right,
okay.
and it is just who I am. And me and
Yeah,
Mikey, we get to that's the game we get to play. And my new one, who told me her name the other day, I now I can't think about it. I want to call her Gwyneth, but
okay.
yeah, she's kind of cool. That's the woman. She's kind of
I
fun.
have one that I'm not sure.
Um,
I call her Celeste because she's just this like it's I wouldn't even say she or he. They are just this radiant light. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. So just
no,
like celestial, like that's what I thought of,
yeah,
and I haven't come up with anything other than that at the moment. So, but I have five. Like I have five guides. And they they all talk to me at different times and say different things, and sometimes they all yell in unison if I'm not paying attention,
yeah.
you know?
I've been, and then if I'm not listening normally Heather will be the one that says, "Hey Jeff," because her guys are like, you tell them.
Right.
So listening to
Not
your
that he's gonna listen to
guide,
me anymore.
I do. I listen to you all the time.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Um,
So what's one thing that you could do every day, and this is to our listeners, um, what's one thing you could do every day to allow yourself the space to ignite your imagination?
my big thing is journaling. Honestly, I don't think I talked enough about my journaling process. I mean, I did publish a journal also. Um, so I get a lot of things during that, and often it's my nighttime journal that's the one that like throws in all the creativity and all the because I'm more creative at night. That's one of the things about me. Or if I get myself onto an early morning regiment, which happens every 4 or 5 years, where I'm waking up at 7, or it's normally for a reason. It's not because I'm getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? It's
Right.
normally there's a call that I have to be on. There's something I have to be on at 7 o'clock in the morning. And normally I said, "Do we really have to do this 7 o'clock in the morning?" And they're like, "Yes, that's the best time." And I'm like, "No, it's really not. It's 7 o'clock in the
It
morning.
might be the best
What the
time
hell?"
for you, but
Right? It's not for
it's
me.
not always about you, Jeff.
It should be. It's all about me. Um, but you know, if I do a early morning routine and I'm in that 7 o'clock space, normally that time, like by 8 o'clock, I'm in a creative, like weird creative spot that I want to create. As opposed to normally I want to do it later in the evening.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of
Um,
like 8 or 8 for me.
I am kind of the same way, which is part of why I would like to do why I'm creating the journal that I want. Because,
Mhm.
I mean, not that I haven't had them that I love to have a set like, you know, what are you doing? Let's, I like to free write as well. And I do that
Mhm.
on a whim, and I get on the computer and then I just type away, and whatever comes out, comes out. I have a lot of that. But um for me, it's actually carving out the time to allow myself to do it and not get sucked into, um, everything that goes on around me, and there's a lot that if you go to my lives, I talk about more, than in this space. Um, so so that structure of having, open it every day, and even if it is 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because it's designed to be take you about 10 minutes, right, to do,
Mhm.
every day, and not being distracted by other things. So actually being in the moment and being present and not thinking about, oh, I'm just gonna open up. Because I kind of did that with the 369 journal where I was writing at three, you write at 3 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, 9 at night. And there were times where I'd be like, oh, I just need to do that. And I would be like on the phone with someone doing like, that's not the idea. The idea is to stop and get all the feels around what you're writing, and have that time together. So yeah, it's still something I'm working on too. But I am pretty good about when this mood strikes me to write it down somewhere, or get it out there in some way, because I put things
My
like
big problem, yeah, I
I'm
think
enough
my
just
big
as I
issue
am. Yeah.
with it, you are enough just as you are. My big issue is that I don't acknowledge some of the creative things I do, I think. And if I don't do creative things consistently that I think is creative, I will be forced to because I won't be able to do anything else. Like so I go and
So
do
maybe redefine, we redefine things all the time. Right?
yeah,
Redefining what success means to you, like redefining what creativity is, right? Because like I had to redefine what being a creative person was. And now can I just say I've done some really, again, I say I was crafty and not creative, but I really am creative. I did a painting, a chakra
mhm,
painting. Jeff has seen it, where I went around the house
gorgeous.
and grabbed all kinds of, I didn't want to use a paintbrush. I wanted different textures. I wanted each chakra to have a different texture on the canvas. And so, like, I used coffee filters and a green scrubby and a steel wool pad and a washcloth and, a bunch of different things. And so each color, I used a different modality to get it onto the canvas. And then, or I had a bunch of buttons. There's a button project out there in my storage unit somewhere where I took hot glue and hot glued different shades of buttons on a canvas before. It weighs like 20 pounds, but it turned out really cool. And I think I used 5 sticks of hot glue on that bad boy. But um, it's finding ways to be creative without doing the norm, right? I painted a tree of
Mhm,
life for my sister
yeah,
that when her roommate saw it, she goes, "Did you, like, look at something? Did you take a class? Did you, like, sign up for a little course?" And I was like, "Nope, it just all came out of my head." And even in those processes, I would, like, start to get too much in my head around it and too much thought about it, and then I would stop and take a moment and go, "Don't overthink this, just do." Right? Don't overthink it, just do.
mhm,
Just do, because that makes a huge difference.
yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
That's a really great thing to remember too. Stop overthinking.
yeah.
I've definitely have. That's a good message for me today. Um,
Yeah.
Heather, what
And
do you
it's
have going on?
what do I have going on this week?
What do you have going on this week?
I have my live tonight if you would like a card, come hang out. I got a couple new decks, on the
Ooh.
TikTok. Yeah, I got 2 new decks this week, manifested those, and, so I'm going to be pulling cards here in a few hours. Tomorrow night, come and do create and chat with me, color and chat. I call it color and chat because that's what I do. But come and just have some time to be creative and shut yourself off from other things and just allow it to flow and come have a conversation. And Thursday night, I will be live again on the talk, pulling cards, doing something. I don't know. Lately, I've like pulled a few cards. I pull and just talk about what comes up on them. A lot of collective cards, but some great messages. What do you have
Hmm.
going on, Mr. Jeffrey?
Well, today we launched the Creators Club, so
Yay!
I am going to be talking about that. I am excited. Um, I have this is Tuesday. Um, I get to leave here, and I'm in a new workshop, so I get to I have my group call this evening, which is going to be amazing. That I get to go from that to you, and going to hang out with you for a little bit, and I'm going to be live pretty much every day, somewhere or something. I have I know what I got going on this week. I got a new meal box that came in literally like 5 minutes before the show because we were joking about this all day. It's gonna come in right as I'm here. Um, and so I am going to be creating some content around and having some conversations around resetting your systems. So that's what my lives and my TikToks and I have some my video work is gonna be really about resetting. Like,
I love
okay,
it.
I've been off, right? And I'll be the first to tell you I've been off, and I know that if I once these are reset, it will be. Don't stop beating myself up. Stop beating me up
Yeah, quit guilting yourself.
because that's gonna keep you from doing it.
Yep,
What what the real motives is motivation says modifications is what came to my head. Modifications.
that too.
What motivations are there? So we're gonna be having a lot of talks around that this week. Yeah.
I love it.
So
I need that too. Because like sometimes we overthink it so much that like we're stalling ourselves out, and you could have had it done in the amount of time that it took you to guilt yourself around not doing it.
oh my goodness, how many times have I done that?
Me too,
Oh,
me too. And we could
I
count the ways and how that applies in every part of our lives, folding laundry, you know, doing
doing laundry,
dishes. Huh?
doing doing laundry,
Yeah,
doing
doing
dishes.
laundry. Right, right, right,
the,
exactly.
the big laundry basket that's like really like right behind this curtain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
My thing is that so I don't like going in the main house without I don't like going in the main house when everyone's there. And I have full reign in that house. I can walk in right now. Pretty much everyone's home. I can walk in right now and go and cook a whole meal in there, taking things out of the fridge and like really like whatever I want to do, I could do right now in this moment. I have a bed. It's in the house. I could totally do those things. And I still don't like to. I like to do some of the things like if I'm actually I feel like I'm in the way sometimes and I'm not. I know this. It's just all in my head. I totally get it. Um
I 1,000%
but I
understand that.
so like I need to do laundry and everyone's been home because they had COVID all last week. So I didn't go in and do laundry. Now, at
Right,
any point I could have went in and done laundry. And today my plan was today everyone went back to work for the first time in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, cool, I'll go and do laundry today and then got busy on all the other things that I live on.
right.
So maybe
All right, you
tomorrow.
guys will come join us next week. What's our topic next week?
That's a good question. Let's see. I know it. I
We're all learning just as you are. I literally get these questions, like, I got these questions 3 hours ago or something like that. I was in the middle of something, I go, "Oh, that's cool. we're gonna talk about them later."
I gave you these questions yesterday. I just resent them today to make sure that you got them.
Well, there you go. That's how much I
Next week, yeah,
you don't
meaningful
know.
moments in navigating life's tapestries is what next week's is,
Ooh,
and we, uh huh, that's what I said. I'm like, wow, you would think that I actually had a plan when I came up with these things and knew who I was talking with. Uh,
right?
and we do have a guest. Oh, we have a guest. Our guest next week. Oh, guys, you cannot miss next week. It is going to be so friggin' amazing. I knew I had a guest. I just didn't know who it was. And now that I saw who it is, I'm so like, I'm like, oh, wait. Like, it would have been cool. Just Heather and I, we would have been cool on that one. Spencer is going to be here.
Oh, yay!
Right. Right. If you guys don't know Spencer Jones, you got to get to know him. He's such an amazing person. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, he is the perfect person. I did ask him to be on that one specifically because he's the person to
That's
be there.
great because I know Spencer, but I don't know Spencer, so this will be the first
Yeah.
time that I get to interact with Spencer, so I'm excited. Because I post on
Oh,
I comment on a bunch of his stuff, and he always asks, like, the best questions to get you thinking and stuff, and so, now I'm excited. Yay. I mean, I'm
yeah,
always excited. I love doing this. This is, like,
I
one
do
of my
too.
favorite parts of my week is to
Is to
come
be
and
here.
have this space.
Yeah, we get to have this conversation. And I think that, we really did. This space is really designed for you to be able to ask questions and to be able to um, really talk about these topics.
Yeah. Because
So
we
make
just
sure.
don't talk about them, and as adults, we get in this, like, practical mindset, is that a good way to put it?
Mhm.
A
I'll,
practical
I'll
mindset,
I'll play
and
with
really
that.
we need to get back to that, using your imagination and creating what the life that you want, right? That's what this is all
Mhm.
about is creating the life that you wanna live instead of the life you've been living,
The
as Jeff
default.
says, your default life,
Yeah, that
right?
break free from this
And
default.
my card today, if you do not follow me, go and watch my card pull for today. It's on all social medias, Reels, wherever you can find it. And it's Awaken was the card today. And so, you know, about perseverance and yeah. So
Offer.
go check it out. And thank you all for coming and hanging out with
Yeah.
us. We will see you next week.
Thank you. Yeah.
I love
We'll see you next
you.
week. We love you. Bye.
Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.